Okay.
I would say you should try to do kind of both sides because the other player will watch the review too.
Okay. I try to do both, but sometimes I get a little tunnel visioned on something. Usually, just it also can depend on depends on what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very interesting from one side, obviously, right?
Yeah. If you are playing this, I assume that you have done your research.
I have done none.
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 I think this is a very bad move without research. This is absolutely more fundamental. It's much safer, much easier. Like the follow-ups are easier to use, the invasions are easier to deal with, the attachments are easier to deal with. It's a lot easier follow-ups, so it's a lot easier game for yourself if you play this one. This one, the AI says is better, and that's fine. But if you don't know how to deal with any of this stuff, if you can't deal with that, then this is your result is going to be worse than a Shamari. So even if you have a move that says this move is worth 5 points more than this move, but if your results are 10 points worse than the result of the other one, then it doesn't matter that the first move is 5 points better because your result is worse. So you cannot play these high level shapes like this without research. It is a very big blunder. It's a very big mistake. It's just setting yourself up for a difficult game if you don't research it. Now, I'm not telling you not to play it, but if you don't know it, this is better. If you do know it, or you want to research it and practice it and study it and review it, then that's fine.
Does it have a
do
name? Does this opening have a name?
I don't think so, because this is like an AI move, right?
Oh, this is an AI move. Okay.
So yeah, I don't think this move was even played before AI.
Yeah, it just got popular with the AI.
So this is fine to learn and research, but do not play stuff like this without research. Because anytime you defy the fundamentals, you have to understand why it's not fundamental. What is the exception? What is the variation? Why did you do it? Without understanding that, your follow-ups are going to be wrong, and then your position is just going to fall apart.
Okay.
This is not the shape when you have a pincer. It is here, and I think the AI says you can play here as well, but
so
I don't know all the AI stuff.
No, there's a proverb actually that I knew before AI is attach to stronger stone to make weaker stone even more weak.
Yes. That is true if you are double approached. You can do stuff, but once you're pincered, this is actually a very simple thing. It's consistent direction of play. And then they 3/3 and you block and like that. You can see at the very first move, you said, I want the left side. And every single move after that, I want the left side. I want the left side. I want the left side. Or maybe even like Tanuki now or something, right? Like sometimes you can Tanuki this as well. The whole idea is consistent directional play. I cut off my opponent. I killed the stone. I got a base. Everybody's happy, right? It's consistent idea. Now, if you want this one, this is just more complex. I don't know the variations, so I'm not going to show anything, but this is also possible, but you see it's inconsistent direction, inconsistent fundamentals, then you need to know the variations why. What is the reason why? This one is not really a shape with a pincer, because the way this one works is if you get pincer like this, and they do this, you're going for influence like this, and this is the idea. Like this is a Joseki, actually. This is a Joseki. You go for influence. But let's imagine you had a stone right here. Then it doesn't really affect this stone as harshly. So it's a little bit awkward shape. So it's not that it's not playable. It's just if this exists with better shape, why would you not play it? Why would you play this one? Here, it actually feels like you should cut. But this is a really bad shape because you can push the diagonal and then push under, and this is really over concentrated. So you actually never want to cut. I say never, almost never want to cut with a diagonal, because that push right there creates an empty triangle, and the hane and the cutting point, it's just over concentrated. It's really ugly. So
D6, does that absolutely kill D6? If I did I played D6. Does that absolutely kill C6?
No, but white should give it up. If white tries to resist, it can get into a fight that's bad for him.
Okay, that's good. That looks,
If you look at the influence, it's not impossible. Like it's like everything like can change with the outside result being different. Like if there's outside stones, but in this case, look at the influence and look at F3. It doesn't feel ideal. If you just compare that to if white had just played, the 3/3, and even if you Tanuki this, white has Aji here later. White has Aji later for life. And then if black plays here, yes, this stone's dead, but now you have Sente, and the shape actually doesn't look bad for you compared to black getting all of that influence. Like, yes, white can, and in some positions, maybe it's even better. You have to always consider that, right? In some positions, maybe this is better. But is that thickness really worth it? It's hard to say. And then also maybe I try to do it to Suji. Are you going to kill it? Well, then maybe I get more forcing moves. Maybe I want to squeeze or do it to Suji. Maybe I have squeeze plays here. Like you can always check these things. And then maybe I go here and then here. Maybe that's better depending on the board position. I'd get to attack you quite a bit. So usually it's not recommended. Now, again, this is old stuff. I don't know with AI, but usually white's supposed to just give up the stone. Like almost always they will. But I say almost always. At the higher levels, almost always they will. But you have to also double check that nothing on the outside is going to make that stone, that other variation better. Like maybe if white has some strength right here, then yeah, he would just save the stone. Why would he bother with this one if it's already strong? Because you have to take that into account. But usually this is just better. So saying it's straight up dead is technically false, but more times than not, it'll just be dead.
Yep.
Okay, so it's just this. All of this is just understanding your Josekis. Because at 7Q, you have to level up your Josekis a lot because we can no longer get away with just the simple stuff. And then at like 3Q, you have to level it up again, and then at like 3 dawn to 5 dawn, you have to level it up again. And you never stop learning Josekis. You just get more and more complex Josekis in your like dictionary in your head. For white, I see no reason not to do this. If black wants to try to kill it, you can kill it. If you want to seal, that's fine too. I actually don't really care about this position all that much. It's just a free corner in my opinion. But Tanuki's okay. It's awkward for black to play here. But usually you want to finish stuff. It's a simpler game. Okay, so this one's interesting. Do we want the top or do we want the right? So I chose the top, probably to try to break your combination. That is reasonable. I think that's reasonable. Jump, I like it. That's not a Joseki, is it?
I don't know.
I think the Joseki.
That
Okay, so this is actually important. You cannot play in a corner without knowing the Joseki, especially at single digit Q, because Josekis are things that repeat. So they're things you can learn outside of the game. If you're trying to invent a new Joseki in the middle of the game, you're going to end up in a bad result, almost always, because you cannot come up with a variation better than a prose variation. So it's just not going to happen. So it's better to learn your Josekis outside of the game, and you just want to learn multiple, so you have different directions and options. And then if you say none of these options worked on this board, well, guess what? You need to go study more options. There's thousands of Josekis, so there's no way you can't find a decent one for this position. As long as it's an empty board, nothing else around or whatever, you can play Josekis. So if you're saying that I'm going to play this without knowing it, then you're setting yourself up for a very bad situation or a very difficult problem for yourself. So ideally, learn Josekis outside of the game, and then in the game, visualize the results and say which result looks better on this board. So in this case, probably this one I would say is more interesting out of the ones that I can think of in my head at the moment. If you really want the top side, you could also choose this one and start a fight. But if you have no other option, if you don't know those options, then maybe just go here.
Right.
Might be simple and just effective. You can also choose to just play here and say, okay, you destroy my combination, I'll destroy your combination. That's a fair trade. That's simple.
Mm-hmm.
So why make the game hard on yourself and when you can use things that you already know?
Sure.
And Josekis are one of the unique things in Go that actually repeat. Like Go games don't repeat ever, but Josekis actually do repeat. So that is actually the one point you do want to study outside the game, and almost you don't quite memorize, but you practically memorize by study.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for white, the shape should be Hane, push, fix, or maybe fix like this. Something along those lines, but 1 and 3 should be the vital point of this shape. It's a common, this is a common attachment shape. So it's like, why can't I think of it? This one. Yeah, that stuff. It's the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
Attach, you Hane first, steal the base, then make your own base. That's the concept.
Right.
This one, black has 2 options, here or here. It just depends on which one you think is better. Okay. So you're going for the influence, which makes sense considering you played on the outside in the first place, especially with this high stone. You do have cutting points though.
I do.
I'm scared about those. So let's see how it goes. This tells me you do not understand this move. Because if we're on the 4th line, we should be like right here. Right. This is a lot of influence. Like this whole game has been on the 4th, like this whole top side is on the 4th line. Mm-hmm. Why are we not doing influence for 4th line position?
Right.
Why would we go to the 3rd line and say, I want territory when I've been on for influence for the other 5 moves?
It's harder as the game goes on if you're playing influence because you're losing more and more territory. You're gaining a lot of influence. It's just a scary thing.
It's scary, but if you don't like influence, then don't play so many 4th lines. You can choose what you want to play.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
if you
do really well, I get into influence, and I like influence, and then at some point I say, "Oh my God, look how far behind I am."
Yeah, controlling the center is actually like overpowered at the Q levels. So I would say keep going for influence.
Yeah, it takes a lot of reading to back it
I
up.
consider like being able to control the center like a cheat code at the Q level. it's too powerful. It's too effective. If you know how to use it, if you can create the center better than your opponent can, and then if you know how to attack things, you're not going to lose. It's overpowered. But understanding attack and defense and understanding how to create the influence is kind of important. So in this case, it's just being consistent. You've been on the 4th line this whole time.
Yeah.
Why are you not getting an influence?
Right. I like my corner there, the left-hand corner. I didn't want
this is still invadable.
Yeah.
I can still play here. I can play here. I can play here. This is what I mean by this shape is not nearly as solid as it looks. Like it looks like, oh, I get so many points. But no, you don't. Like this, it's still Aji in there. It's just more difficult to read Aji. So I would say if you wanted to attack this, I would go here. This is less Aji right at this point, and also attacks the eye space more.
Right.
But this forces white up, like maybe like this, and this hurts your position right here. So I think the combination just isn't good. It doesn't feel good.
Right. I like your move back.
Yeah, and now you're running while attacking. Knight's move, you have to watch your cutting points, but it looks like you're attacking a little bit, so maybe it's okay. But now you have actually 2 Knight's moves, right here and right here, on a group without a base.
Right.
That's quite scary.
Yeah.
I think this is like too advanced. I'm not confident you're going to be able to handle this well. Because that's a lot of good. Okay, this is really bad. Never, ever, ever push a diagonal like this. Because this fix gives black like 15 points. Later, when you're strong, there's an invasion point right here. That is a lot of Aji. And you play here, then I have here. That is a ton of Aji. Pushing diagonals like this are very, very bad unless you get some really nice value out of it, because you kill so much Aji. And Aji is what you have to learn how to use at single digit Q. So Jerry is 4Q. We're trying to get to Dawn. To get to Dawn, you have to start learning how to see and use Aji to do your goals better. But if you're killing Aji, you are killing your chances to get to Dawn. This is a really, really big blunder. You cannot kill Aji. Aji is like the most important thing for attack and defense, getting to Dawn level, like for the advanced stuff, right? And then getting from like low Dawn to mid Dawn is all about Aji. It's just exclusively Aji. So playing Aji Keshi is going to severely hinder your progress. On the flip side, fixing Aji, like, love that, okay? Learn to love moves like these. When your opponent just like, hey, I'm going to poke you, you're like, oh, thank you, please. Fix. I had weaknesses here. I love fixing stuff. I love having no weakness in my position. Like, if he plays, like, right here, you should love to fix that. Like, heck yeah. Now you're connected, no problems. I was worried about that. Thank you. It's a thank you move. So this one, you technically leave a Tetsuji right here. And there's a cut that just works. So this is not a good Nobi. It would be better to just go defend yourself if you're not going to fix the cut. So this actually doesn't, I don't like this. I'm starting to feel like everyone in the game thinks black is attacking white. And I'm pretty sure that black is weaker than white. White is practically alive, especially with this cutting point. White's like, and then there's a push and a Hane. White's alive, but I feel like everyone's thinking that white's under attack.
I felt like he thought he was under attack.
Yes, but your moves are also attacking white with a group that's not alive.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, this is all out attacking white. What if I go here? What do you do? Or if I go here, what do you do? If I just cut you because I think you have no base, I'm going to disconnect you.
Right.
How do you see this going?
Poorly.
I mean, it's going to be difficult, right?
Yeah.
Now, black is getting some profit because white has literally been responding to all the attacks, but white should think about counterattack more.
Right.
So, like, what about, like, this move? Take a liberty. Like, just think about this. Like, we don't have to do it this way because there's an Atari and stuff, but we need to consider these things. So what about here? What about here? 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 Why am I playing defense? I'm the attacker. I need to, like, take his eyes. I need to surround him. I need to be on the outside. Like, let's play like this. You're going to surround? I'll keep you cut. You don't have time to attack me. You have to play like
he's probably alive anyway, right?
You actually, white is not completely alive, but black owes a move to make white unsettled, and then white can just come back and like make some very quick eye shape right here, and now he's alive. So white actually has eye shape right there, and then there's this one, and then white has eye shape right here. And white has an escape route. White actually has a lot of options for life. So white's not exactly alive, but black doesn't have time to attack white if this group's not alive. So white should be on the outside, not the inside. So here, black actually got a lot of profit, but you're not playing defense first. This is actually just like the 17Q game, except at a very higher level, of course, but it's the same concept. You are attacking before playing defense, which is possible, but extremely complex and very dangerous. It's very, very reading intensive to attack with a weak group. Not impossible, but extremely reading intensive. So I usually don't advise it. I usually advise defense first to make the game easier for yourself, and then learn offensive timings and everything else. I would say attacking before defense, you should work on at 5 Dawn. Because at 5 Dawn, you actually understand all the fundamentals. Or you're supposed to anyway. You understand the fundamentals. You understand what defines weakness. You understand how weakness is going to play out. You understand what Aji is, how to use the Aji, and then you're like, okay, now I understand when I can die. Therefore, I'm going to go all out up until that point.
Right.
You have to know exactly where that point is, or your whole group dies.
Right.
So I usually would say at 5 dawn, you learn that, which is not this level. This is like extremely dangerous. So why does, oh, hi dog.
My dog.
So this is extremely dangerous, powerful, but dangerous. But if your opponent never attacks you, this is more effective than defense. So for white, you've got to attack black at some point. So white actually runs here. Interesting. It's just making the game more complex. I would say this feels like more handicap game. Like I'm going to do things that make it more complex because I'm going to outread you. So maybe white's strategy is, okay, we have a rank difference. I'm going to just set up a position where it's reading intensive and I'm going to outread you. Not a bad strategy, but I don't know. Maybe you could have had a simpler time of it if you attacked earlier. This is okay. I would cut. Keeping black cut and also hurting the stone is useful. Vice versa, like staying connected is really important. Like keep your base, and now white is weak and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can go on the offensive because you have no problems. White Atari's, I don't care. White has to fix his cutting point. Now I can attack. Boom. Cut that from that. You have 2 weak groups. I have no problems. I don't care. You want to cut me? Fine. I'm happy to start a fight here. I can start a fight because I'm connected to a base. I can fight with strength. But if you're not alive, then it might backfire if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to do something to this stone, but you just connect. Like everything I want to do is blocked because of this connection. So I would just cut. Just cut. Take the base. White. Is he gonna fix? Okay. Poke the eye. Take the other base, and now black is unsettled. You don't have time to kill white because black has to run. Black has no eye space. So I think understanding bases is maybe both players' weakness. Understanding connections and bases. It's the entire middle game at the Q level is cuts and bases, cuts and bases, cuts and bases.
Yeah, I think you're nailing it for me.
Yeah, I think doesn't Michael also talk about that a lot of how important cutting points are? Oh, never ever ever do this. You're actually if cutting points are the fundamentals of attacking, fixing your opponent's cutting points are the opposite. So you're actually helping your opponent a lot with that. If you want to fix your cutting points, I would prefer it this way, even though it's ugly. But you don't have to worry about these cutting points. These cutting points don't work. So why are we fixing? Especially, why are we fixing it by making our opponent strong? That's just not good.
Sometimes when you poke, though, you get a free move kind of in there. But
okay. What does a free move represent? So this is a good lesson of how single-digit Qs learn to use Aji. What is Aji? Aji is potential, right? It's potential weakness. So Aji, usually the way you can do something is you get free moves against it. But when you play those free moves, you are literally fixing the Aji. So you have to think, why do I fix my opponent's weaknesses? Why would I do it? It's to get value. Okay, what is value? Okay, so our double-digit Q basics are focused on single-purpose moves: defense, offense, big move. When you say, I'm going to fix my opponent's weaknesses in Sente for value, that value is defense, offense, or big moves better than the double-digit Q way to do it. So for example, let's assume there was a cutting point here. Okay, let's assume that. Double-digit Qs, I would tell them, just fix it. Don't be fancy, don't be clever, just fix the problem. Single-digit Qs, I would say, fix it in Sente using your opponent's Aji. So if you can fix it in Sente and then go somewhere else, that's better than just fixing it in Gote. So in other words, Aji is about doing your job better than the basic way or the double digit Q way. So double digit Qs is doing your job and doing it well. Single digit Q is using Aji to do your job even better. But if you have to understand what that job is. Now, if there's no cutting point here and you fixed Aji, then you got no value and your opponent fixed Aji. So it's a negative exchange rate because you prevented yourself from gaining value in the future. Aji, or let's say forcing moves, right? Forcing moves are very, very useful because they allow you to do your job better sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. So if you are preventing yourself from having those future options, then the rest of your game's going to be double digit Q level instead of single digit Q level.
What if I focus on the other side, G11, with the influence in the...
What is the value are you trying to do? Are you trying to play defense, offense, or big move?
Well, I was thinking if he has to answer my poke, I would be gaining more.
Yeah, he has to answer your poke. We have to assume that, like I think that's pretty clear that he has to answer this.
Followed up by, let's say, H9. I seem to be like if I poke, right? If I poke on the outside with G11.
Yeah.
Yep. He answers the poke.
Uh-huh.
And then I play like H9. I just feel like I'm getting a little wall there. That might be helpful.
Again, if you fix Aji and Sente, we have to figure out what is our value. Are you playing defense, offense, or big move?
Kind of offense, and then I'm gaining.
Okay, so you're doing. Are you choosing offense?
Here I am. I would be here. Yeah.
Okay. Offense. Step 1, unsettle. Step 2, surround. Step 3, ice base. Step 4, vital point. Okay. So step 1 would be here. Take the base. Okay. But let's assume you're surrounding. Okay, that's fine. How would you surround as a double digit Q? Just single purpose, no Aji, no forcing moves, just one move to surround. Would you go here? Would you go here? Capping moves, shoulder hits, those are pretty good.
I'm thinking maybe I'm being too aggressive is my first thought. In that, it's still a wide open right side. Center.
Well, you're supposed to be aggressive to weak groups. Okay. So the question is, can I surround? And if I can, does the peep make my surrounding even better? I don't think it does. And white is alive. White, if
White's alive.
Yeah, if I surround, white is alive. Yeah. White could probably Chiniki. So you're actually attacking in Gote, which is really bad. Don't attack in Gote. Attacking is supposed to be a positive exchange rate, and then you go play big move, like a free positive exchange rate. Right. So fundamentally, I think there's a lot of problems here, but I want you to understand, why do you use Aji? Why do you use forcing moves? Never use them blindly. Right. Really think about, how is this helping my value? Like, think about the value. How does the value of this compare to the value of if I just did my job?
Right.
Like the double digit Q mindset. The double digit Q mindset, what am I doing? Defense, offense, or big move? How would I do that? Is using this Aji doing that job better or in Sente?
Right.
If you are
elsewhere.
Yeah.
Convince me.
Yeah. If it doesn't do your job better than the double digit Q move, then you are losing potential in the future.
Yep.
It's also called Aji Keshi. Aji Keshi is really, really bad. Don't fix your opponent without a very good reason, because Aji is very useful. So this one I think is really bad. So I have 10 minutes left. Does anyone want me to clarify any points about Aji or weaknesses or what to work on at their level or anything like that?
I think we made the point.
Okay. So I'll just go for another 9 minutes then. So here you take the base. This is really nice, actually. That's exactly how you would attack that stone. White, you have support on both sides. You want to go high. You want to encourage an invasion to attack, and attacking is a positive exchange rate. Low says you want territory, but that's a lot of open area to just say I want territory.
Mhm.
Also, I would say white is probably losing because look at that 5th line territory that black got by attacking white with 2 weak groups. So maybe that's the problem here is white got attacked when he was alive, and then white created another weak group to make it more complicated, but then just played defense. That's not the strategy is inconsistent, and the play it feels like white doesn't really understand exactly what's happening, and black got away with too much. I think black played a lot of loose shapes and never got punished for them, or never even got like asked, hey, are you actually okay? You never actually questioned black's connections. You just assumed that they were correct. And
Yeah.
whenever you play something like this, poke it. Like say, hey, I don't believe you. Poke, poke, poke. I don't believe you. Poke, poke, poke. Show me your connection. Poke, poke, poke. Are you connected? Okay, now I see the connection. I'm not going to force you to connect, but now that I see the shape connection, now I'll go play somewhere else. Okay? But white was alive. If you have Miai for life, then Sente is important. So I think black got a lot. I do like you're going for influence here because white is really flat. So it's kind of perfect to say, I'm going to get influence because this is 2 lines. This is a lot more than 2 lines. So if you make the exchange rate of I'm getting the center and you're getting the side on this position, because white's so flat, it would be a really good exchange rate. So I'll just keep doing it. White has to do something about this eventually. But if you just go here, that's territory. I'm like, okay. I guess it's okay. But it's really inconsistent with these two, which says, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. Because you limited white's potential and then you went and played a big framework. So, okay, maybe that's fine. White has to invade because white's going to lose. Attack while running away. Okay, this is where we get into double purpose. Single purpose, 0-3 is a weak group, run away. Just play defense. Double purpose, run away and play defense while applying pressure. Perfect. Close. I'm a little bit worried about this connection.
Yeah.
So what about like here, and maybe even just here, like just stay connected and run away. Stay connected and run away. Stay connected and run away. And then boom, I get center, you get nothing.
Right.
Watch cuts and connections.
It comes back to haunt me in the end.
Oh, this is a huge blunder. What are you even alive? If I just surround you, now it's a life and death for white. I'm not worried about dying now because you have to live. You're gonna die. So you have to like play like this. Okay, now I believe you. Now you're alive. And now I can go deal with whatever I want to deal with. Like he played here, now I'll go deal with it. I'm gonna get all of that for free, and then I'll go deal with it. So if your opponent ignores your attack, punish. And likewise, don't ignore weak groups for white. That's probably I would try to do something like this. Or try to attack this group or something, like run away while attacking or something. I don't know. But this is not good. And yeah, you didn't punish white, so that's also not good. So it looks like the attack defense here. This shape is better because it's Sente versus this shape, which is, if you go down, it's Gote. Or you just get less. It's worse in game. So it's several points less. That one just Gote. Yeah. This is big, but like weak groups. Yeah, weak groups first.
Yeah, the bottom. I should have won the bottom group.
Yeah, you're just playing normal big moves.
Yeah.
Like these are fine big moves, but attack and defense, urgent first, urgency.
Yep.
This is nice if you think white's dead. Like I'm blocking my territory, but if white's alive, this is Dame.
Right.
So hope white dies. If white doesn't die, all of these moves are wrong.
Yeah, white doesn't die. So in fact, yeah, I don't even think he was losing when he was on.
Okay. So this is interesting. So white is a 4Q and you're a 7Q. So that means white has to be doing something better than you're doing. But or the flip side, you're doing something worse than white. Okay. I think you are attacking with weak groups and white doesn't. I think. And so that's why you lose more games than white does. However, when you pair it up, it seems white doesn't have the tactic to punish that type of mistake. So even though white will win against other opponents that you would lose against, white loses to you because you are playing a style that, if not punished, will get more than normal stuff.
Right.
So I think actually you are a good opponent for white. So white, because white will need to learn how to counter you.
Right.
But at the same time, you also need to learn to not do it.
Right.
Yeah. So it looks like attack and defense is definitely what you two should work on, just understanding it. I think it's a better lesson for white, actually, because I thought it would be a better lesson for you because I thought white would punish you. But I would say white needs to play you and learn how to punish you. And then you need to learn what stuff is getting punished and how do I stop doing that so I don't get punished.
Right.
I think that would be so you two can be good opponents for each other because
Thanks for
you're getting away with too much and white's not punishing you. But once white punishes you, you're gonna start losing a lot. And that's where you need to do is lose to improve. You gotta lose to improve. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. I'll just keep going. Oh, this is not the response to the monkey jump. Do you know the monkey jump?
No.
Very important. Do more Go problems. So the monkey jump, the way you beat it is you bonk it on the head. Bonk the monkey on the head. If they go, you have tiger's mouth to cut. Okay, so they have to go backwards. And then you hane, and they're like, oh, but there's a cutting point. Yes, but there's also a cutting point for white. And white can't go that way, so white takes. And you Atari, white connects, you connect, and white is dead. Okay, so you hane, white fixes, then you fix. So the monkey jump is a Tsuji. It's a Yosei Tsuji to go further than just like a jump or something like that. It's to go in and reduce as much as possible. And as an added bonus, the monkey jump is a lot of times sente.
Right.
So the monkey jump is 6 points in sente. So it's actually a 12-point value move, at least. A 12-point value move. So this is actually really good endgame for white. But if you don't know how to stop the monkey, that thing will just keep going. Right. And that monkey will get out of control and destroy your house. Like if you don't know how to catch the monkey by bonking it on the head, that monkey will destroy your house. So bonk the monkey on the head and hane.
Okay.
Yeah. You are correct that if you can't block, then the 1 point jump is the way to stop it from going in further. I don't see why white doesn't just keep going because that's free. There's still no cut, and you can see that you still have to keep going. So it's the same principle, but white can get a lot of points right there. This is very, very, very late. This should die. Okay. When something is absolutely surrounded, and this is also like a tip for how to kill the 3/3 at the end of the game. Attack the eye space from the second line. In this case, you might not even need the second line. It's just don't let them have eye space. Let them run and attack their eye space because they run into your stones. There's nowhere to go. If it's absolutely surrounded, then you aren't surrounding. Now you're at step 3, eye space. Attack the eye space. They have nowhere to go. So you can attack things from the second line. Like a 3/3, they in 3/3 at the very end of the game, you attack the eye space from the second line and let them out from the 3/3 and let them run away, and they have nowhere to go. And they just have no eye space. That's the way to kill it. This is the way to let it live, though, because do you see what he's getting?
Yes.
Eye space.
Second line, eye space, yeah.
Oops. So that's why we needed like this.
Yeah.
This. That. Let him go. Right? Where's he gonna go? You do have to watch cutting points though, so maybe cut. But like he has to stop eventually. Like, and then you just watch your cutting points. So there's two ways to make life if you're invading like this as white. One is to kill something or cut something or break through something by using your opponent's cutting points or liberties or a mistake through your opponent's shape. Or the second one is make 2 eyes. So if you just stop the 2 eyes, all you have to worry about is your cutting points and liberties. Just watch that very closely. The only way they live is you let them make 2 eyes, or you miss Aji, like cutting points and stuff. That's the only way it works.